Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second Canto, 7th chapter, beginning from text number 43. So this is Lord Brahma speaking to Narada Muni, his son and disciple. In the beginning, when there was shortage of teachers, then father will do the dual role, right? In the guru and also father. So Lord Brahma is, obviously there was shortage at that time. Only
one father.
So he is the father and the guru of Narada Muni, and he gave him instructions about devotion. Although there are many various paths, various processes, and now there is new age, so many techniques are there to attain enlightenment. But the original process was bhakti. That is the process which belongs to Krishna. Krishna says all paths belong to him in Bhagavad Gita. But there is one path which is his own path, and that is the path of bhakti. So that is one process which he very much likes. Like you want to go somewhere, there may be many roads, but there is one particular route you like, because the road is clean, there are nice trees, less traffic. So that is the path of bhakti, not many people take it. So there is less traffic. If you go to Buddhism or impersonal living, there are plenty of people in it. So this is the less crowded process. And some people prefer this, people like Brahma. So now he said in this verse that when somebody gets the grace of the Lord, then such a person, he surrenders to the Lord, becomes free from Maya, which means the illusory energy which bewilders people and does not identify with the body. I was reading this book and it's talking about enlightenment. So it's a very big, confusing word. There are certain words which are very, very much used. Everybody uses these words and nobody knows what is the meaning. Like the word love. There is hardly anybody who will not use this word. There is hardly anybody who knows what it is. So there is another popular word like this, that is enlightenment. So it's very popular these days, but hardly anybody knows what is enlightenment. So Brahma actually explained in this verse what is enlightenment. So he says enlightenment means Naisham mamaham iti dhi swashrivala bhakshe. When a person does not identify with the body, which is a food for dogs and jackals, and he becomes free from Deva Maya, the Maya of the Lord. Now he wants to tell that are there any people who have walked on this path and have understood? Because usually you take the process if there are some people who have followed it. Nothing succeeds like success. If something becomes successful, then more and more people join it, because nobody wants to be left out from the bandwagon. Everybody wants to jump on the victory chariot. So Brahma, he also knows this, that if he only talks and does not give some example who has taken to this process, then no one will take it. Because you want to at least know few examples who have become successful on that process. So usually in spiritual life, there are not many names. If you take any path, you find some limited names who attain perfection in that path. So in Bhakti also, there are some famous names which are given here. They had attained perfection. They got the blessings of the Lord and they understood Him. So He is referring to them as an example for us, so that we also become inspired and put our faith in it. So He says, Vedahamang paramasya hi yoga mayam yuyam bhavasya bhagavanath daitya varyah patni mano sacha manuscha tadatmajascha prachina barhir bhuranga utadhruvascha ikshvakurela muchukanda videha gadhir adhvambari sasagra garana gayanahu sadhyaha mandhatra larka satdhanvanuranti deva devabrato baliramurtarayo dilipah saubharyavutanka shibidevala pippalada sarasvatodhava parasara bhurishena yenne vibhishana hanumadupendra datta पार्थाष्टिशेना विदुरसुतदेववर्यः ते वै विदन्ति अतितरन्ति च देवमायां स्त्रीशूद्रहूणसबरापि पापजीवः यद्यदद्भुतक्रमपरायणशीलशिक्षा तिर्यग्जनापि किमूषुतधारणाये. So he gives a very long list of names, and these are the names you will hear in Bhagavatam later on. There are stories, many of them. Some are found in other Puranas or in Mahabharata. So he says the first person he says is he himself. Vedaham Ang. If somebody asks a person like Brahma that if he is realized, then it's a problematic question. Because if he says yes, people think he's proud. If he says no, then he's humble. So, but here he is speaking about himself. He says that I know Vedaham Anga Paramasya hi Yoga Maya. That I know the Maya of the Lord. And then if Narada says that is there anybody else besides you who also knows, then he says that you also know. So it is important to get the support of the student, because if the student is not supporting the teacher, he is not going to get more students. So he says, Narada, you also know. He says, you. Right, Narada? So first he says that he knows, then he says that you know, then Lord Shiva. And then the next name is Daityavarya is Prahlad. Prahlad also knows. And then is it that only the males know? Are there some females also who know him? So he says Patni Manu Sacha. Manu says that wife of Manu. Her name is Shatrupa, she also knows. So it is not the exclusive property of men only. Sometimes, or in some schools, they think that only men are qualified for enlightenment. But on Bhakti, there is no such restriction. And then he says that Manu also knows. And not only Manu and Manu's wife, but their sons and daughters. Means the whole family knows. It's a great family. The story will come later on. Swambhu, Manu, Satrupa and their sons, Priyavrata, Tanpad. So he says they all know. Then King Prachin Barhi, King Ribhur and Dhruv Maharaj, Ikshvaku, then Aila, Muchkunda. Videha is Janak, father of Sita Devi. Gadi is Vishwamitra. And Raghu was one of the four fathers of Lord Ramchandra. Ambarish Maharaj, Sagar is the grandfather of, great grandfather of Bhagirath, who brought Ganges down on earth. And Gaya and Nahus. So these are the various kings. And Mandhata, Alark, Shatdhanu, Rantidev, Devrat is Bhishma, then Bali Maharaj, and Amurtaraya and Dilip. So these are basically all kings. So usually it is very difficult to find a politician who is enlightened or who is very much into spiritual life. Politicians have their own field of work. But here these are all royal people and they were all enlightened. So you can imagine that how they must have ruled. Because only such people can rule properly. They can take care of their subjects nicely and also help them to advance spiritually. Then he gives a list of sages: Saubhri Muni, Uttanka, Shivi, Deval, Pippalad, Saraswata, Uddhava, Parasara, Bhurishena. And then not only just human beings but some other people also. He says Yenne Vibhishan was brother of Ram. Hanuman is monkey god, and Upendra Datta, Arjuna, Aristishena, Vidura and Sutadeva. He says all these people, they know the Lord's Maya by his blessing. And then this is not the complete list, because one may think that that's all. He says, Yenne Tevai Vidanti Ati Taranti Cha Deva Maya Stri Shudra Huna Savra Api Papa Jiva Yadadbhut Krama Parayana Sila Shiksha Striyak Jana Api Kimu Sutadharana. He says all those people, even if they are women or Sudras or Shabra or who belong to low class or even sinful species of life, they can all understand the Maya of the Lord and they can transcend it if they take education under devotees. Yad Adbhuta Krama Parayana Srila Shiksha means devotees who are engaged in hearing and following the Lord, who performs wonderful activities. And if one takes education under them, then they can all transcend the material nature. So he very clearly makes it that the birth is not a restriction here. As in Varnashram system, birth is very important. But on this process, birth is not, or the gender, because it says that even women are qualified to become enlightened or realize the Lord. And apikimu sutta dharanaye. So this part can either mean that those, even if people have studied Vedas, but if they are not devotees, they will not know. Or it means that if such people can become qualified to know the Lord, then what to speak those who are born in high-class family and have studied properly about the Lord. So Triyak Janapi, even animals can become devotee. Devotion is not limited only to human beings. So So, the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Nanu teva nirhamamattvascha yeshu bhagavato dayalakshanam drishtam drashtavyam cha tani ganayati vedahamati. Says he gives a list of those people who attained the grace of the Lord, and thus they became free from the concept of I and my in this body. And he starts speaking about them, beginning from himself. Mai bhagavato daya asti iti janami. Says, I know that Lord's grace is on me, because later on he is going to explain how Lord appeared to him and gave him the knowledge of the Vedas. Directly he spoke to him. Iti tad abhigya bhaktajan sammatya eva vachmi swanubhavastu nantam vidami hamiti maya purvam eva prakashakati. And he says, whatever I am speaking, it is something which is approved by the other devotees of the Lord. Otherwise, according to my own experience, I have already said that I don't know the end of the Lord. Because he already said, Nantam vidami hamami muniyo agrajaste. So this is his experience, that he does not know the limit of the Lord. But it does not mean that he does not know anything. So he understands, and that he is speaking. Daityavarya is Prahlad, and the wife of Manu is Shatrupa. Manu here is Swambhu, he is the first Manu, son of Brahma. Tadatmaja Priyavrata Uttanpada Devhutyade. And their children were Priyavrata, Uttanpada and Devhuti. Devhuti was mother of Lord Kapila and was married to Kardama. So she was also a realized person. She was the daughter of Prachin Barhiso Vishargalokas Chandasa Sadhanva cha Anuschaiti Akar Lopa Arsha. And then Sadhanva is a great devotee of the Lord. Mandhatra Adivi Sahito Devvrato Bhisma. Devvrata is the name of Bhisma. And Ranti Deva iti Chapata. In some books the word Ranti Deva is mentioned, in some other name. And Upendra Datta Sukha. Upendra Datta means Sukdev. Somehow, how it means Sukdev, I don't know. Then he says that na kevalam ete mahanta eva apitu dina hina api itya teva iti. So all these names which he gave, they were all very great people. So Brahma feels that one should not become discouraged thinking that only such great personalities as Manu or Ikshvaku or Raghu or Dilip, they were very illustrious people. Only they attained blessing of the Lord. So he says it is not so. Even some people born in very low families, they have also attained the grace of the Lord. Adabhut उत्तम अधम विवेचन शून्य क्रम है पाद न्यास है कृपा संधि यस्य तस्य भगवतः परायण ये भक्तास्तेषां शील शिक्षा तच्छिष्या भूत्वा शीलं शिक्षन्ते ये थे. He says anyone who takes shelter of devotees of the Lord, who are interested only in hearing about the Lord and His activities, they all can also know the Lord by the grace of the devotees. Triyak jana Hansa, Gaja, Shuka, Sharikada, and even lower animals like a swan, elephant, a parrot, etc. They can also know the Lord. Guru Mukhat Srutam Nam Rupadikam Sigram Ye Dharayanti Manusyaste Punah Kimat. And then what to speak of human beings who hear from the Guru the name of the Lord and then chant it and hear about the form of the Lord and meditate on it. So they all become transcendental. Now, a question may come in the mind that Lord is transcendental and our body, our mind, our senses, they are material. So how is it possible that we can recite the name of God with material tongue? Because we use the tongue, we create material sound, and we use our mind, and in our mind we only think material objects. So how is that we can reach the Lord by sound or think of Him with material mind? So about this Brahma speaks one very interesting verse, very important verse. Says Sasvat Prashantam Abhayam Pratibodhamatvam Shuddham Samam Sadasata Paramatma Tattvam Shabdo Nayatra Purukara Kavan Kriyartho Maya Paratya Bhimukhe Cha Vilajyamana. Says that Lord is eternal. He is peaceful, free from fear. He is pure consciousness, free from any touch with matter. He is equal and He is the cause and effect. And He is beyond cause and effect. He is the absolute reality. And the sound cannot reach Him. Especially the materialistic activities of doing sacrifice, they cannot reach the Lord, and even Maya cannot reach Him, because He says Maya paretya vimukhe cha vilajyamana. Maya feels shy to come in front of Him. So then how is it possible that He can be understood? So there is very interesting commentary on this verse by Sri Srimad. We will read it. Nanu Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaniti Shabdate iti adhikari visheshesu Parmeswara Stri Ruptaya Bhati. There are three manifestations of the Absolute. There is Brahma, the impersonal manifestation without form or qualities. There is Super Soul, Paramatma in the heart. And there is Bhagwan as a person, the Supreme God. These are the three manifestations. And according to the qualification of a spiritual seeker, Lord manifests to him in one of these ways. Either He manifests to him as impersonal Brahma, as Super Soul, or as Bhagavan. This was already spoken in the first canto. Tatra apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan ityadina shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagwan yugante Tiyanena Bhagwan Shresha Visheshataya Ukta. So in previous verses, Brahma has spoken about Bhagwan in detail. And he has said that one should hear about the Lord, and this will purify a person's existence. And Lord will appear as Kalki at the end of Kali Yuga. So in all these verses, he has spoken about the various manifestations of Bhagavan. So many incarnations were described, beginning from verse number 1 up to verse number 40, in 40 verses. तदुपासकाश्च येषां सैव दयेदित्यादि किमु श्रुतधारणा ये इति अन्तेन उक्ता. And then he spoke about the people who worship Bhagavan in this verse which we studied yesterday. But only those people who get the blessing of the Lord, they are able to know Him. And then he spoke about the list of various names. So these are all upasakas, the devotees of the Lord, this big list of people we just read. So this is one category of people, and they realize Bhagavan, teacher. Samprati Paramatma Brahmacha Uchyatam iti akankshayaamaha saswadati. So Narada said that you have spoken about Bhagavan. You have also spoken about the devotees of Bhagavan who worship Him. Now please tell me about the other two features, the Brahman feature and the Paramatma or the Super Soul feature. I want to know about them. So then he speaks this verse. सदसतः उत्तमधमस्य ब्रह्मादि स्तंभ पर्यंतस्य जीव वृंदस्य परमात्म तत्वं समम एक रसम आव. So he says that super soul is that who is situated in everybody, beginning from Brahma to the blade of grass. He is called Atma Tattva or Paramatma Tattva. The word Atma and Paramatma, they are synonyms. Tatha Sashvat, and then Brahman is the other part is describing. Sada Prakarshena Santam, which is always peaceful, because Brahman does not do anything. Brahman is all pervading feature and it does not undergo any change. It is free from the Prakriti gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So it is therefore Prakarshena Santam, very peaceful. Tasya Gunavasat Santa Ghora Mudhasya Apityat. And it does not undergo any changes which are caused by the material gunas. Sashvat prashabdabhyam sattva gun karya samo vyavrit. This peace can also be attained in the mode of goodness. When a person is situated in the mode of goodness, he is also peaceful. So he says that this peace which is mentioned here is not the peace of Sattva Guna, because peace of Sattva Guna is not eternal. It stays for some time and then it will change, because gunas, the material nature, has a tendency to change. Even if somebody meditates, cannot meditate all the time. He has to come out of his meditation and do some activities and sleep also. So he has to go into Rajas and Tamas. But Brahman is free from this. That is signified by the word Sashvat and Pra, means completely peaceful. Tatha abhayam tasya sabhayasya api. And it is abhaya. It is completely free from fear. Pratibodha matram, it is pure consciousness. Tasya jnanasya jnanvato api प्रतिमात्र शब्दाभ्याम सत्वगुण कार्य बोधो व्यावृत्त है. And the word prati and matra signify that this consciousness or awareness is not the work of Sattva-guna. Otherwise, Sattva-guna also gives knowledge, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sattvat Samjayate Jnana. So it is not that jnana or consciousness or awareness coming from Sattva-guna, but it is transcendental. Shuddham tasya asuddhasya api evam paramatmanam uktva brahma yatra nana कारकवान अपि तथा क्रियया सह अर्थवाच्य लक्ष्य वंग्या यत्र तादृशोपि सत्यो न प्रभवति. So Brahman is completely pure and it is absolutely free from any activity, and therefore no word can approach it. Whenever you want to speak about some object by using words, then either you talk about some quality of that object or you speak about some activities related to that object. But if there is an object which has no qualities and there are no activities in it, then what word will you use for that? All the objects which we see in this world, they all have some quality. There is no object which is free from all attributes. At least it has some appearance, existence, some shape, some size, and some other qualities. But Brahman is nirguna, free from all qualities, and there are no activities in it. So how will you define it? What will you speak about it? Whenever you use some word about anything, then it is talking about its name, form, qualities, activities. But if there is an object which does not have any form, qualities, activities, then what will you say about it? He says, therefore, no word can be used for Brahma.
You can say it's zero. You can say it's zero.
Zero. And that is also quality. Zero is also quality. Isn't it?
Zero is just to define nothing.
Zero is nothing, but it is also something. If food is there and then food is finished, then you say there is zero food. So it's also defining something.
It's related to something.
Zero signifies absence of something. And absence means that something has to exist, then only there can be absence. But in Brahman, nothing has ever existed, so what is the meaning of zero? Zero means negation of something, absence, isn't it? If you say I have zero money, means you have absence of money. Zero has to be with something. Zero means what zero about what? You cannot simply say it is zero means it doesn't exist, it exists. So you cannot say zero for it. So he said, Arthavachya Lakshya Vangya Yatra Tadrishopi Shabdo Na Prabhava. Whenever we use some word, that word has some meaning, direct or indirect. Sometimes the word have indirect meaning, and sometimes they have direct meaning. But in case of Brahman, no such meaning is applicable. So he says you cannot use tadrishopi shabdo na prabhavati, that you cannot use any word for Brahman. What word will you use for it? But as soon as you use word, then that word has a meaning. And it has meaning always has four things. All meanings can come in four categories. Either they mean some object, any if you say car or pen or table, then this word is signifying an object. Or its word means some quality. You say blue, yellow, small, big, sweet, sour. And these are qualities, this word. Or it signifies some category, like you say womanhood or manliness. This is a class, some group category. Or the word signifies action, eating, sleeping, walking, talking. So all the meanings from all the words can come in these four categories. You cannot think of any other meaning. And because Brahman does not have any of these four things, then what word you will use for it? It is not an object, because object is that which has qualities. There is no object which you can think of which does not have quality. And it is free from quality. It is not a quality. It is not a class, because it is only one. Class means there has to be more than one. One person does not make a class. And it is not an action. So he says, therefore no word can be used for it.
No language.
But if you say Brahman is something that is behind these four classes of words.
So what is it? What word you will use? That is the point.
The Chinese use the word Tao. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao.
But what is it?
I think it's equivalent with Brahman.
Yeah. So but you cannot use any word for it. Or it is thou, or it is you. There is no name. So therefore he says that no word can be used. But then he says one thing more. He raises one question, that why not use the word Brahman for it? Because you are saying Brahman, 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 so that is the word. So he says, no, Brahman cannot be used for it. Because Brahman signifies that which is big. Which means it has a quality. But Brahman is supposed to be non-dual, monistic. So then there will be two things. Then there is Brahman and then there is bigness in it. So you cannot use the word Brahman also. Therefore he says, Nanu, Brahma Shabdenaiva tad brushay atcha Shabdona yatra iti nishidyasi. He says, you are contradicting yourself. You are using the word Brahman for it and then you are saying you cannot use any word for it. So it's like saying that I don't have a tongue in my mouth. What is the meaning of this statement? I don't have a tongue in my mouth. It's a white lie. If I don't have a tongue in my mouth, then how is that I am speaking? So he is saying that you cannot use the word for Brahman and then he is using the word Brahman. He says, what is this trick you are playing on us? So then he answers this. He says, listen carefully. And he says, Maya parati abhimukhecha vilajmana. That Maya cannot come in front of it. So why he said it? What does it signify? यस्य अभिमुखे माया विलज्जमाना सती परैति पृष्ठदेशमुपैति तस्य भगवतः पदम अप्राकृत विचित्र रूप गुणादि विविध विशेषवतोपि तस्य प्राथमिक साक्षात्कार विषय निर्विशेषम स्वरूप. Now there is no such thing that Maya cannot come in front of Brahman, because Brahman is everywhere. There is no such thing as mouth or face of Brahman and backside of Brahman. That face and backside is only for the Lord. Only a person can have front side, back side. So it is Maya which cannot come in front of the Lord. And in reference with Lord, Brahman can be understood. Because Brahman is the qualityless manifestation of Bhagavan. So you cannot use a word directly about Brahman, but you can use a word in reference with Bhagavan and then define it. Which means Brahman can be defined only with reference to Bhagavan and not independently. Therefore, those people who want to realize Brahman, they want to be one with Brahman, it is not possible without accepting Bhagavan and without taking to devotion. It is not possible. Because they cannot even understand what is Brahman independent of Bhagavan. There is nothing like that. You can never know it. So that's why he says Maya Paratya Bhimukhe Chkulanjamana. So this Brahman is the qualityless feature of Bhagavan, who has transcendental wonderful qualities. Bhagavan has qualities. And he has various specialities in him. And his qualityless realization is called Brahman. So this is how you can use word to define Brahman, by defining Bhagavan, not independently. This is the meaning. Madhyam Mahimanam cha Parabrahmeti Shabdatam. Because Matsya, Lord Matsya, he told to King Satyavrat that you should know that Brahman is my glory. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmno hi pratisthaham, that I am the substratum of Brahman. Brahman is not independent of Krishna. It's not independent of Bhagavan. इति भगवतुक्ते तदीय व्यापकत्व लक्षणम बृहत्वमेव निश्चितं ब्रह्म. And because it is nirvishesh, qualityless feature, all pervading, therefore the word Brahman can also be used, because at least it has one quality, and that is that it is all pervading. And that's what the word Brahman means. It is everywhere. Ayam bhava, the meaning is as follows. Sabdasya akas gunatvena maikatvat. He says that the sound is the quality of ether. Sound travels in space. It is the characteristic of space. And space is material. So sound is also material. It is also a manifestation of Maya. Maya api tadavumukhe sthatum asakte. Maya cannot come in front of the Lord. So if Maya cannot come in front of the Lord, how can the sound approach him? It is not possible. Because sound is a manifestation of Maya, and Maya cannot approach the Lord. How can manifestation of Maya approach? माइक रूप गुणादि मंतम भगवंतम अपि शब्दो अभिधातुम यद्यपि न प्रभावते. Therefore, sound which can only define material qualities, material forms, can never define the Lord. So then what happens that, then what about these statements that Krishna is like monsoon cloud? Says Tadapi Megha Shyama Kanak Pariji. he is like monsoon cloud in color. We say like this. He is Meghasyam or he is Syam Sundar. Or if you say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is golden. So now this cloud is material. And if he has a color like cloud, then that is also material. So you cannot define Krishna then. Because this is material. Pankajaksha, you say that Krishna has lotus eyes. But lotus is material. So if he has eyes like lotus or lotus petal, then his eyes must be material. Because if you are comparing it with something material, then that object is also material. So he says, Pankajakshoyam Atma ityadya shabda megha kanakadi prakriti vastu sadrishyarupena loka chittam yatha kathanchit tatra praveshayanti. So he says that by saying that he is Syam Sundar, because you make painting of Krishna. So by making this, when you make this painting, you have used matter, material color, right? The paper is material, the color is material, when you make black or this peacock feather, it is all material. So is Krishna like this? Because we are worshipping and we are meditating and we are thinking Krishna is like this, playing flute like this, and in a peacock feather. But these are all material things. So how can he be like this? It is not possible. So he says that, really speaking, material sound cannot approach him, but we superimpose these qualities on the Lord by similarity, that he is like cloud. So we are superimposing. He is not actually like the cloud, he is different, but we superimpose. And then we try to meditate on him. Lokascha chitta ekagdyenapi vastuto asprishta rupa tadrupa bhaso api bhagwantam prabhumanam dhyayam. So when you think of some painting of Krishna, you close your eyes, you meditate on him, and you think you are meditating on Krishna. But are you actually meditating on Krishna, or you are meditating on one imaginary form of Krishna? So imaginary form, but you never think like that. What you think is that you are meditating on Krishna. So you say that Prabhum aham dhyayami, I am meditating on my Lord. Iti abhimanya mano hrishyati, and you feel happy by meditating like that. Bhagavan api apara kripa taranga vasad eva anena bhaktena aham dhyata eva iti abhimanyante. So when you meditate like that, then Bhagavan Krishna, he thinks that my devotee is thinking about me, and he feels satisfied that my devotee is meditating on me. Tam bhaktam swacharnantikam sevartham mani. And then he considers this devotee has performed service to me, and he brings him close to his feet. Bhagavat Swarupasya Shabda Gamyatvam Tat Kripya Eva Siddham. Therefore, by his grace only it is possible that we can approach him by sound, not otherwise. So that means it is by Lord's grace, by his mercy, by his energy that we are able to approach him by meditation, by singing or thinking about him. Brahma rupasya tu prakrita vishesh rahityat katham sabda gamyatvam astu iti shabdona utruktam. But at least Krishna has transcendental qualities. He has a transcendental body, And if he has a transcendental body, he also has a transcendental color. And we make a similarity between material color and his transcendental color. We say he is like this cloud, which is material. But Brahman has no qualities, neither material nor spiritual. So you cannot even give a similarity to him. Because if it has no qualities, then how you can compare it with anything? And therefore it was said here that it is unapproachable by word. Not possible. Pravritti nimittasya vastu dharmasya jatyader bhavat yatra kriya karakvam shabdo na prabhavati tad brahmeti brahma shabdasya prathak sanketa eva ayam krita. So because if it does not have any quality, any activity, then no word can be used, because words have the meanings of some quality, some object, some activity. Therefore the word Brahman which is used for it is a sanket, an indicator for it. Like you make a sign. So you can raise your finger like this, then it means victory. So this has nothing to do with victory. These are my two fingers. But we make, or you make finger like this, then it means you're pointing finger angry or something. So that is only an indicator. It's not a real thing. So like that, Brahman is not the real word for it, it is only an indicator. Because no real word can be used for it. अतः शब्दगम्यत्व अभावे अपि शब्दगम्यस्य भगवतो निर्वेशे स्वरूपं तद्गम्यम्. So although Brahma, this Brahman impersonal feature is unapproachable by word, it can be approached because Lord can be approached by word. Bhagavan can be approached by word, and then through Bhagavan you can reach Brahman. That is the only way. भगवत संबंधित्वेन उक्ते सति तत्र लोक चित्त प्रवेश नान्यथा भंग्या ब्रह्मणो अपि शब्दगम्यत्व. So independently no one can approach Brahman or fix their mind, but through Bhagavan it is possible. And therefore it is possible to approach Brahman also through word in relationship with Brahman, not independent. Itham eva shruti adhyayadau vyakhyasyate sati. This will be described in more detail in 10th Canto, 87th chapter, where there are prayers of Vedas personified. Tatha ajasram eva sukham syat vigato bhakti shoko yasmat tadeti. Tasya sukhrupatve shokatve cha kamityam anatha. And when Lord is called as free from distress, etc. This will be described in the next words. So this way, although we cannot approach Brahman directly, it is possible to approach it through Bhagavan. That is the name. Therefore, Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratistham amritasya vyasya cha. And Brahman realization is possible only through Bhagavan realization. If one wants to reach Brahman independently, then it will not happen. That is Brahman.
Are impersonalists aware of this?
No. They don't read this, that's why they are not aware.
But some worship the deities knowing this.
Mm-hmm.
Some worship Krishna, worship the deities knowing this.
Yeah. Those who understand, they have to worship.
So even if it is motivated, this worship they do to the deities still works.
Yeah, because God says, "Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathai bhajami." As you approach me or surrender to me, I will reward you accordingly. It's like people also worship for material gain, and He also rewards them. So you can also reward in personal realization.
When we do, for example, prana pratishtha, so it's like we do it more in our mind for ourselves.
God is everywhere, so it is for you. Even before you do pran pratishtha, He is there. No? He said He is everywhere.
But also the words that are used to define Bhagavan are material. So, but they convey the contact or something.
Yeah, it's also by Krishna's grace it is possible.
So means that they are.
Just as deity is also material, it is made of matter.
Yeah.
But by His grace it is transcendental.
Because also ultimately the material object and material sounds and whatever is material is also an energy of Him. So it's material in.
So if it is related with God, then it becomes transcendental. That is the meaning.